Hello and welcome to Matt's Casual Cooking. And today for Bread Month, we are going to be making Italian Focaccia bread. A very, very fun and tasty bread that you can make for any time of year. Goes great, really with a lot of things. So we're going to go over all the ingredients and how to put it together, and let's get to it. All right, folks, so we're going to go over the ingredients that you're going to need today. Now, for starters, for the sponge, you're going to need just half a cup of flour, and you're going to need half a cup of warm water between 105 and really 110 degrees, because we're going to want to proof 1 packet of Active Dry Yeast. Then what you're going to want to set aside is 1 cup of warm water, and this one's going to be between 105 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and you're also going to need coarse salt. Now, I'm using kosher salt, but you don't have to. You can use any other sort of coarse salt that you can find. Optionally, you can use like parsley flakes or rosemary for this if you want to towards the end. And we are also going to need some plastic wrap as well. So we're going to go over the sponge here, and I will see you in just a minute. All right, folks, so we've got our half cup of flour, and we got our yeast and half cup of warm water. And all we're going to do for now is go ahead and pour that in. And make sure you get as much as you can. So go ahead and just take a wooden spoon, and you're just going to combine everything together until it's nice and smooth. Might seem a little lumpy, but that's also all right. The water and the yeast are just getting acquainted with the flour. All right, folks, so I feel like it's pretty smooth at this point. It's probably about smooth. There's a couple little lumps, but don't really worry about a couple little lumps at this point. So what you want to do now is you want to take some plastic wrap, and we're just going to cover it loosely. Now, we don't want to just add this on and tightly cover it. We just want to kind of cut it off. And I'm just going to put a couple of the sides down, kind of run it out. So it's still a little loose like this. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to let it sit at room temp. We don't have to put it in necessarily a warm spot, but we're going to let it sit overnight. Or if you're doing this, say, in the morning, you can let it sit for at least 8 hours. We're going to let it sit overnight, and in the morning we will actually get back to it. So I will see you in the morning. So have a good night. Good morning to everyone, or if it's been 8 hours, good night, or whatever time it is. So our sponge is done, and it's going to look very bubbly. It's going to smell kind of sweet, and that's really what you're looking for. It's been fermenting overnight. So all you're going to do now, you want to take just a wooden spoon, go ahead and add in your salt. Sprinkle that. And then you're going to add your 1 cup of water. Remember, this needs to be between 105 and 115 degrees. And I'm just going to kind of do it the opposite way. And you just want to kind of gradually stir it in. Don't just dump it in all at once. All right. So now, once that's in, you want to take your remaining dough, or I'm sorry, your flour, and you want to add it in. Now what we're looking for is, while we're stirring it in, is you want to just have enough where the dough pulls away from the bowl. And I'm just going to leave a little bit out for the moment. So then once that's done, once you have it where it's pulling away, you want to put it on a lightly floured surface, and we will go from there. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so we're done. You can see it's kind of seems fragmented, but what we're going to do, probably need a little bit more dough on top, or flour on top. Give it the old, just a little bit. I just need a hair more somewhere out there. Okay, that's fine. So all we're going to do is you're going to knead this together for about 8 to 10 minutes, or until the dough is stiff and elastic. So go ahead and do that, and then once we're done, go ahead and get out a glass bowl. Well, that doesn't have to be a glass bowl, just kind of any bowl with some cooking oil, and then we will go from there. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so you can see our dough is done. So what you want to do now is, like I said, get out a bowl and get out some oil, and we're going to add some to it. I'm going to add a little bit extra, and maybe just a dab more. All right. Go ahead, just kind of swirl it around. All right. So then take your dough ball, and run it in there. And we want to make sure we get as much covered as humanly possible. So all we're going to do now is, I know this is one of our favorite parts of bread making, is we're going to cover it with like a terry cloth or just a hand towel, and we're going to let it rise for an hour in a warmed spot, or until it's doubled. So you could be here just 45 minutes and you're fine. So go ahead and do that, and I will put it back out on your floured surface as soon as you're done. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so you can see we are done, and it does definitely doubled in size. Now what we're going to do is, you want to get a baking sheet out and just kind of lightly flour it, and you just want to set your dough on top of it. We're not going to punch it down. We're not going to do any of that like we would on a regular bread. So all we're going to do now is, you want to get a good sized bowl to actually go over it, and we're going to let it rest for another 30 minutes like this. Now if you have a breadstone, right now what you're going to do is, you're going to put it in the oven, turn your oven to 475 degrees so the breadstone heats up, and we're going to transfer it from this to a breadstone. Now I don't have a breadstone, but you can use a unheated baking sheet to cook this as well. So we're going to transfer it to a unheated baking sheet. So once it's been 30 minutes, we will go over the next step. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so we are done. You can see it's kind of also spread out. And what you want to do is, you want to, if you're just using a baking sheet, you want to transfer it to a baking sheet that's unfloured. So what we're going to do now is, you're going to want to kind of pull it. We're looking for about 11 inches on this in diameter. And we're pretty much actually already there. Now you want to be careful. We don't want to lose the air bubbles that are in it. We don't want that. That's not what we want to do. So just be careful, kind of pulling and stretching it. So actually pretty much already there for the most part. I did get out a measuring tape. So right about 11 inches. So that's fine. Now what you want to do is go ahead and just take your fingers. We're going to kind of push down dimples into it. Now you don't want to press down really too far. Again, we want to try to keep a lot of the air in there, but you can see when we push down that we do have impressions of our fingers in there. All right. Yeah, only push down maybe about 1/4 of an inch. That's really all you got to do for this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take your olive oil and just going to spread it on. And I'm just going to take a little brush, and we just want to brush as much as we can. If you think you need a little bit more, there's nothing wrong with that also. So I make sure you get the top, and I actually like to do the sides as well. Right, there we go. And make sure we're just nice and covered. Alright, now also here, if you wanted, is where we would also add the rosemary or parsley to it if you want to go that route as well. I'll set this off to the side. So now all we want to do is just take your coarse salt, and you don't want to really do too much for this. So I'm just going to give it a nice, very nice thin layer. We really don't want to bunch this up too much. So we got a little bit on here now. Alright, so like I said before, we're turning the oven to 475. And we're going to cook this for 15 to 20 minutes or until the top is golden brown. And now what you also want to do is about the 8-minute mark is you want to look into the oven, and if you have any bubbles creeping up on here, you want to pop them with a knife. So go ahead and pop it in the oven, and I will see you then. Alright folks, so you can see we are done. We've got a very nice golden brown crust to it, and when you tap it, it will sound a little hollow, but that's okay. So all you're going to do is set it on a wire rack, and you're going to only let it cool for about 15 to 20 minutes as well. It's going to be pretty hot coming out of the oven. So if you enjoyed making this recipe today, like, subscribe, share. Please leave a comment below. I want to know what you think of this bread. And I want to thank you for coming back to another week of Bread Month with me. So take care, and thanks for watching.